This new acrylic painting is going to show sunset colors with silhouetted sea oats, like sand dune grasses with a purple, peach, orange, reddish background. So it should be a nice, simple scene. It'll be great for beginners. So let's get into it. I'm going to use orange yellow, lemon yellow, scarlet, champagne, and violet. So it's just a purple, a peach, a red, a yellow, and an orange. Doesn't have to be this exact tone, but I think these colors will be nice in there for the sunset. And then I'll also use a titanium white and a Mars black. And this is a 5x7-inch canvas panel with a masking tape border. So we'll have a nice little clean border around the edge when it's done, and then some clean tap water. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is just prep our colors a little bit here on the palette. That way, once we transfer them to the canvas and begin to blend that sunset background, it'll just be ready to go. Because I don't wanna have to try to mix my colors on the canvas while blending. I just wanna prep them here. So first thing I want to prep, I know it's maybe a little hard to see here, but this is purple violet. And I just want to put some white in that violet. There, you see how that made it a lot lighter and more opaque. So I want to lighten it up even more than that. So let's put more white in. I want it to be a real, that's more like it there. That'll be good. So you see I just did pretty much a 50-50 white and purple, and we got that nice light opaque purple. So that'll be good. The red's good, the orange is good, the peach will be good. I'm gonna put a little bit of that yellow and white into the peach, just barely, just a little bit. Just a subtle touch, a little warmth there. And that's it. So I don't wanna lose the pink. Okay. So from there we should be all set. And now I'm just gonna dump and get some clean water. And now the main thing when you're doing this background, I want it to be really softly blended with a bunch of these warm sunset colors and really beautiful. But it needs to be well blended. And so the key to this is we're using a moist bristled filbert brush. And a filbert brush is just a brush like this. It's like a wash brush, but it has rounded edges. So you don't get, whenever you blend, those square edges on a wash brush sometimes will create defined brush lines and edges. And so these rounded brushes soften up that edge of the brush so you get easier, better blends. So I'd like to use a filbert brush for this just to apply the color and mix it together. And then once we get that situation where we have it mixed up and blended the best we can with this filbert brush, then I'm gonna go in with this soft bristled, dry bristled wash brush. And that's the key, there's no moisture here. And using this dry bristled, soft bristled wash brush, I'm gonna go over that blend and it's gonna take out all the brush strokes and really soften it up and make it a really pretty blend. So that's kind of the key. And I have a couple background blending videos, and I'll put them at the end of this video on little pop-up thumbnails at the very end. And if you have any trouble with this blending, that breaks it down even more. So that'll help you with blending backgrounds. But let's get into it. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this yellow peach that we just mixed up, and I'm gonna set that right in the center. And this will be pretty much the main color of the sunset. So I want to go ahead and get that in good. And then we can work in on top of that. I'm just going to rinse it. And now I'm going to grab some orange and some red at the same time. And let's blend that in right in the bottom here. And I don't want that red orange to overpower the whole painting. I just want to have a subtle strip, a little glow at the bottom. So if you pull that dark orange and red up into the peach, it's going to overpower the peach. So if it begins to do that, go ahead and go back on your palette, get more of the peach color, start to work that in, and then pull that down into the red and orange, and then wipe your brush, rinse it, get out the excess, reload it with more, and then again pull it down in there. Wipe it and just keep working that color edge and try to drag that peach down into it. And you can do, figure 8 type motions, go in different directions to really blend it. And if you feel it begin to dry on you, just rinse it like I did there. And then with that moist brush, grab some more of the peach color and pull it down into the darker color. And there you can get a nice transition and a nice blend just like that. And now, up top, let's get that peach purple that we mixed up. And we'll put that right up top. So we'll have a nice purple glow. And then drag that into the peach. And this is going to be a similar situation that we just dealt with. So the peach will overpower, or the purple lavender color here will overpower that peach. So when you get to this point where you're in that transition of color, rinse your brush, get it as clean as you can, get some more of that peach yellow and put it right there in the center and drag it up into that purple. Because if you drag that purple down into the peach, that darker color will cover up that peach. And now at this point I'm going to dump and get clean water. Now I'm just using water for this, so try to work quickly if you can. Think through everything before you do it so that you're just ready to go. Because once you get going, it's going to dry fast. You can really blend it in. I'm just going back and forth. But again, you can do different brush strokes, go in different directions to really try to blend it. So now at this point, we can work in some black down at the bottom. So just run that black with a moist brush right at the bottom. And this will simulate those shaded dunes that the sea oats will come out of. Rinse your brush well. And then you can grab some more of that red and orange that we mixed up. And right on that edge, try to blend it together. If it gets dry on you, just dip it in some water. Just be careful you don't pull the black all the way up because it's so dark and strong that it'll overpower anything. So try to get some of that orange red on your brush and just run that edge if you can. Keep your bristles moist so it all blends together and you have a soft edge there. Just try to blend that out the best you can. Just keep moistening and wiping your brush if it starts to dry on you, and just gently try to soften up that edge of color. We don't want it to be harsh and defined at all. We just want it to be these soft transitions of color so it just kind of glows. If they're harsh edges, it just won't look quite right. So really try to get everything blended out the best you can. We can put a little more black if it gets washed out. So something like that. And then get that dry, soft bristled brush and just gently go over it all. And this will really help get rid of a lot of the imperfections in the blends. Kind of soften everything up. Once you go down in the black, don't use that brush again up top though, just in case it deposits some of that black. So just work your way down and then finish with the black. You can do it again if you want to. Okay, so that background's in now. So we'll let that dry and then we can go in and start to put in the sea oats. So now for the silhouettes, we're just going to use pure black. I want to add some depth to these so that some of the sea oats that are in the distance will be a bit blurrier. And we can do that. Here I'm just going to add some random texture. So you can see I'm just going in different directions with black here, down in the shadow. And this will just add some subtle shapes and definition down in the shaded area where the sea oats will originate from. And this is just the illusion of detail. That's all it is. And now, get your brush loaded with some pitch black. And let's add a blurry sea oat. And all this, the way we do this is just by simply blending it all out. So you'll see later on our foreground sea oats will be very defined in shape. But this one, we're just gonna blend it out. We're gonna have no harsh edges at all. Everything's gonna be kind of soft and fuzzy. And that simple trick is going to give the illusion of depth, as though it's further back, non-defined. And that's what we want. We just want to set it back. So I just have a small detail brush here with a good tip on it, good pointy tip. And then I'm just going to use moist bristles. And we just blend it all out. So that, see, that's too defined. So I'm just going to blend them out and make them fuzzy. See that? And now that blurry, that blended out blurry look is going to give that illusion, especially once we start to put in our defined sea oats on front of it, on top of it, then you'll really see it in action. So I just have my moist bristled brush here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Let's add one here. Give it a little bit of, a couple little leaves, maybe a little, but just blend it all out. And I just have that moist bristled detail brush, and I'm just doing small little circles. I'm just doing tiny circles over that color, breaking it up and blending out any harsh edges. And that's all I'm doing. Blend all this out, just any harsh edges, blend them out the best you can. You want it real soft. And the more blended you have it, the further back it'll be set and the better it'll look. And again, you want just moist bristles, not too much water. And not dry either, just right in the middle. Just enough to break up and spread the pigment. And this one I'm going to go back in and just do it twice. I think I washed it out a little too much. Okay. Now I'm going to use, this is a detail liner brush. And with this, I'm going to get it wet. The key is you want this to be wetter than you normally would have it. Almost a watercolor type consistency here. And then it'll flow really well. And you can get the wispy type lines that flow real well and come to a tapered point right at the top. Otherwise, a lot of times you'll get it where it scratches and drags and just doesn't quite look right. See, like there, it's not wet enough. So it's dragging, running out of paint, scratching. We want it to flow well, like that. There we go. And then you can put these little wispy offshoots like this. All right, and then some of these bigger ones, you can start to put in the actual little oats. And I'm just going to do that by putting little clumps of just tiny little dashes. You know, just like that, just tiny little, just dropping little tiny streaks of paint. And then those are the oats. And if you put a bunch on each other, that'll define those, the tips of those sea oats. then just add a bunch of little streaks down on this faded black silhouette, just to simulate a bunch of stalks down there. Because we don't want it to be just these few foreground stalks that we see. It should be full. All right. And we can just go in and keep doing this. And just take your time. And those oats will start to come alive, and those couple that we set in the distance will give us some depth, and it'll be a nice little sunset scene here. And again, this is a great painting for if you're just starting out. You just blend up that nice background, and then it's not a lot of colors, there's not a lot of detail and difficulty in putting in the sea oats. It's just silhouetted shapes here. So hopefully this will be a fun one if you decide to do it. And you can add little streaks of grass and little touches wherever you think. You don't have to follow this. You can get creative with it. right, so let's see what we got now. So it's a nice little sunset painting with some silhouetted sea oats. So thanks for watching. And again, a couple of those blending videos should pop up right about now. And have a great one. I'll see you on the next video.